Jim Cramer joins us now. Jim, and God, Alphabet, Microsoft, amazing. I want to ask you about Boeing, though, because I've been thinking about it. And it is called higher. It is called higher this morning, I think, although Phil said the numbers maybe weren't up to speed with what Wall Street was looking at. But I don't know, Jim. Earlier this week, we were talking about, we kept talking about Airbus in terms of Pratt & Whitney. And Airbus this, Airbus that. Boeing is still 50% below its all-time high, while the Dow is at all-time highs. It pains me to say it. Has Airbus supplanted Boeing as the global leader? And can they regain the mantle? They have?
I think that, yeah. I mean, Airbus is definitely the global leader now, and that's because both the 787 has issues and the 737 MAX, they've got plenty for sale if you want some. But I will say this, the cash flow, operating cash flow was better, meaning that there's not as much money bleeding. And that means if they can get an order from China, China seems to be warming up in some of our businesses. In financial, they've been better. And I certainly think you could say that, Otis Elevator said they were very strong in China. Nike, I think, is coming back in China. Apple's in China. So perhaps if the Chinese government wants to be able to make another olive branch, that's going to make it so Boeing very quickly goes up 50 points. That's why my Charitable Trust, I'm afraid to sell it, frankly, because I do think that if things have stabilized, they don't need to do an equity offering until next year. And I think that they very quickly can come back if you think that international travel is going to come back, and I think it is.
How about that paradox, Jim, that to lead the globe, we need to sell to China? So if you don't deal with China, it's almost like helping them preempt us. It's a very hard line to walk for big multinationals. And to keep us number one, we need to deal with what could potentially eventually make them number one.
I totally agree. I mean, I think that yesterday, Greg Hayes, United Technology, now Raytheon, I mean, he's talking about the idea that the Chinese are ahead of us, somewhat like a missile gap that you and I remember from the early 60s. But I do think that, yes, if Boeing is going to come back, it needs to get a giant China order, and it can get that because the Chinese don't make these planes. Now, you could say, well, listen, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time for everything with China. They want to be the global superpower. But in the meantime, our companies want jobs and make money for shareholders, and I think Boeing can do that.